So we've come out today to this beautiful parkland and we're taking some pictures, and the tree's very tall here, and we're constantly finding that it's very easy to underexpose because you're pointing towards the brighter sky behind. And so I want to show you how you can use HDR today, because HDR is a great in-camera feature. Now, on a lot of other cameras, and if you read in the photo magazines, you see HDR and it requires special software, and it requires you to use the camera on a tripod or with a shutter release. It's very complicated. This is especially easy.
Okay, and for those of us who are amateurs with photography, HDR is what? HDR
stands for High Dynamic Range, and High Dynamic Range means that you're going to end up with a final picture that contains more information in the shadows, more information in the highlights. And the way that it does that is it actually takes 3 pictures.
Okay.
So ideally you need a subject that's static, and these trees have been growing for hundreds of years. They're pretty static.
They're not going too far.
So it's ideal for that. And what it will do is take 3 different pictures at 3 different exposures, and then bring bits of information from the 3 different exposures into the final picture. So the shadows are taken from the overexposed picture, and the underexposed picture gives the highlights. And in so doing, it will use parts of those 3 pictures in the finally saved result.
Okay, let's give it a go.
So Paul here is using Next 5, and HDR setting is in the image brightness and colour settings. I've got the Alpha 55, and you'll find it on the function button, along with D-Range Optimizer, which is going to be another one of our videos a bit later. Once you settle to HDR, you use the camera as normal. You don't need any special tripod or shutter release. So you compose your picture, you get it exactly as you want it, and fire. You'll hear the camera go 3 times. It'll take in those under, average, and overexposed pictures, merge the 3 together very quickly, less than a second, and then when you play it back, you'll see the correctly exposed HDR with a much wider range of tones. If you scroll left, you'll see the averagely exposed picture, which you would have got had you not made the setting on the camera. Now, one thing to remember is this mode only works in JPEG mode, fine JPEG. It cannot do it in RAW. So if you're not able to access that part of the menu when you're trying to set it, it's because the camera's in RAW and not in JPEG. So make sure it is in JPEG first.
And we'll be discussing RAW, JPEG and other file formats in later tutorials.
Indeed.